Happy Leap Day, everybody. It's February 29th. For those of you that don't know, I have highly superior autobiographical memory, which is basically just a calendar in my head at all times for some reason. So as you can imagine, this is a big day because it only happens once every 4 years. In both 2016 and 2020, I tried but failed to upload a video on February 29th. I was really kicking myself after the last one because that's 8 years down the drain. But then my high school girlfriend said we needed to take a break, and so that kind of distracted me for the last few hours of the day. What a 4 years it's been. So yeah, I gotta stay true to myself, both by uploading a video today and also by getting to 100 episodes of this series. We're so close. What inspired you to make this channel and start posting videos? This is a question I've never ever received before. I was big on Vine, and I don't mean big as in I had a lot of followers, I mean big as in I uploaded fucking 7 times a day. And you know, I realized eventually that 6 seconds is pretty limited. At the time I enjoyed all of the terrible sketch comedians that were on there, and I thought I could do that on my own, so me and my brother started a channel. And holy shit was it terrible. I found out that it took a little more than just an iPhone camera and 2 slightly funny people in front of it. Such as, I don't know, living in an apartment complex on Vine Street with dozens of other people with millions of followers. How'd you feel when your channel started gaining subscribers, hitting the count it's at now? Well, that's a little bittersweet. I'm still not even at 9,000 subscribers, even though a few days ago was 3 years since I hit 8,000. But I will say, the feeling of when I started gaining subscribers was unmatched. Meanwhile, I hit 123,000 followers on TikTok this morning, and that doesn't feel anywhere near as good as it felt to hit 5,000. I think it's because I worked at this with literally no success for 3 years. Which, now that I think about it, we've come full circle because that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 3 years. How does the current tumultuousness of Congress right now make you feel? From Kevin McCarthy being ousted to George Santos being kicked out to Mitt Romney saying he would vote against his party. This is a very unpopular opinion. Nobody's ever said this before, but it just shows how broken Washington is. A lot of people are pointing to the amount of members of Congress who are retiring, and I think go a step further and look at why they're retiring to get the full picture. Like this Ohio representative stepping down a few months ago to become president of Youngstown State University. Or this New York congressman who resigned a few weeks ago to become president of a museum. But really, anything is better than Congress. All you needed to know is that the reason Kevin McCarthy got kicked out was because he dared to compromise with the other side. I don't think this is an exponential problem, though. I think, you know, it's mostly Trump's fault, and once he's gone, it'll get better. Maybe I'll have to come in and intervene, run for Congress in a few years, you know. I mean, I already took the first step, not fundraising or hiring a campaign manager or any of that. I mean, going through my YouTube channel and taking down all of the extreme oversharing I did between like 2018 and 2021. Like, why did nobody say anything about that? Do you resent anyone from your fan community? Yeah, all of you, for not saying anything when you saw me literally like sharing my entire life story. I mean, every New Year's Eve from 2018 to 2022, I did a video literally just listing every single thing that I did that year. And the worst offense was in the 2020 video. I mean, the stuff I shared, how? Like, how did it not cause more repercussions on my life? Thank God I didn't get that many subscribers from Yako's World. Since you're done covering every candidate, I think, general wrap up and thoughts on the 2024 election. That's a great question. This is another thing I've never talked about before. It's the most peculiar election of our lifetime. I said it in an Ask Beck last summer, but it was interesting to see how the most qualified candidates were the ones that stood the least chance at winning. Our election is actually going to be between a senile old man and a senile old man who's also a convicted felon. Can we make elections boring again? I mean, God, 2012, like, seems like a lifetime ago, but can we just have that back? Can we just talk about like taxes and the economy and shit again? Make politics boring again. Is it just me, or does it feel so weird that Romney only served 1 term in the Senate? It feels like he's been around forever. I mean, it's because he has. He's one of the few senators who being a senator was like the footnote of his career and not the highlight of it. How are you so incredibly attractive? Let me give you a little crash course on this one. I was taught this by a friend who ain't a friend anymore, but she did give me some good advice. You gotta dress generic. You gotta get the Nike Air Maxes. I actually have 2 pairs, including the ones I'm wearing right now. And then I'm wearing a flannel over a gray hoodie and a chain. I'm telling you, the way everything improved for me once I started dressing like this, I will give sarcastic answers to genuine questions, and I'll give genuine answers to sarcastic questions. How are you so cute? Need an analysis of that. All right, yeah, it was funny the first time, but if you could change the outcome of one presidential election, which one would it be and why? The recency bias makes me want to say 2016 because, you know, I think that Trump would have just gone away and the kind of cult brainwashing that's happened over a third of our country wouldn't have happened. But really, there's not much of a better answer than 1876. I mean, that election kind of was stolen, and it set our country back, especially in terms of race, by a century. Do you think Mike Johnson will be a dangerous Speaker of the House? I mean, mean, dangerous is like a word I don't really like to use in politics. Really, Mike Johnson kind of goes with my slogan, which is make politics boring again. They picked a boring guy from a boring state that no one had ever heard of for Speaker of the House, and his speakership has been remarkably boring. Worst experience you had in a restaurant. Could this be a little more specific, maybe? Because now I gotta rack my brain for literally 21 years of experiences at restaurants. Probably the time I was so nervous on a first date that I misread the menu and ordered $75 worth of fajitas and then still didn't get a second date. 75 bucks in 2 hours I'll never get back. If you had to choose a state to move their capital, which one would it be and what city would you move it to? Dude, probably New York. I mean, it has New York City and they picked Albany. That city needs to be excommunicated just like from the whole planet. I don't know if it's been asked, but what's in your opinion the worst state capitol building? Delaware. It has not been asked, but I've said this on TikTok before and my opinion hasn't changed. I went there and it's also the only thing to do in Delaware. Are you just like always on side quests? This is a huge compliment to get a question like this. Bravo, one of the best questions of the last 100 episodes. The answer is yes, and that's what I pride myself on. If you look in the last month and a half of my TikToks, everyone is filmed in this room. Yet I spend half my time traveling now. It's like the other day I posted TikTok from this room and later that day I'm outside of Monte Carlo Casino in Monaco on my story. What was the weirdest thing you've seen during your travels? The Hungarian bath that I went to a few weeks ago in Budapest. There are ones meant for tourists, and anyone who's a local will say don't go to those because they're super touristy, super expensive, long lines, dirty, whatever. But the authentic ones are not for the faint of heart, I'll just say that. There's things I'll never unsee from there.
Now I can't even focus. Oh, it's awful.
How's life going? It's going, that's for sure. I haven't uploaded an episode of Ask Beck since my 21st birthday, which it was 6 months ago this Saturday. And the last 6 months have been the absolute best. I don't even know where I would start if I was going to talk about it. I've traveled more than I ever have in my life, both around Europe and the US, and had so much fun doing it. And even though I was reeling from what happened literally hours before I uploaded the last episode of Ask Beck, I ended up having the greatest time last semester. Like, I finally got the college experience that I really wanted. But I'm also only beginning to deal with the repercussions of that. But all that's in the US and I'm in Europe, and so I'm just having a good time. Life isn't that serious, it's not that deep, and now I'm just going around collecting shot glasses. Look, I've got a little collection going now. I collect one in every place I go. Are you gay? I've been getting this question for 90 episodes, and I guess I'm just never beating the allegations. When are you going live again? You guys should go follow my TikTok, because going live on YouTube's a waste of time. I never get any viewers. I don't go live all that often because I'm so busy now, but that's where you get my most unfiltered opinions. Have you ever been detained or arrested while traveling? The only place I've been detained is waiting for a Ryanair flight. Ryanair is cheap in terms of money, but you pay the rest of the price in just how miserable the flying experience is. Or not even the flying experience, everything else about it except the flight. They line you up and they scan you in with your boarding pass and everything when the plane's not even there. So you'll be waiting in some stuffy hallway for anywhere between 10 minutes to an hour and a half. Anyway, I think that's enough questions for today. You know, it's been a while, I needed to ease back into it, but I really think I took a big leap by bringing back this series.